This is the Vacation Rental Success Podcast, keeping you up to date with news, views, information and resources on this rapidly changing short-term rental business. I'm your host, Heather Bayer, and with 25 years of experience in this industry, I'm making sure you know what's hot, what's not, what's new, and what will help make your business a success. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Vacation Rental Success Podcast. This is your host, Heather Bayer, and as ever, I'm super excited to be back with you once again. It's actually lovely to be back in Canada. Just having made the 4-day journey back to Canada, it's super to be home. And this is the first episode I'm doing after arriving home. And since I've just caught up with my son, my business partner, Mike Bayer, I thought, how better to open up the second quarter of 2026 than having a discussion with Mike. Welcome.
Well, thanks for having me back. It's been a little while since I've been on the show, and we've had some interesting conversations behind the scenes about what we're doing with the Vacation Rental Formula Business School, what's happening with the podcast. And we just kind of figured that this would be a really good opportunity as we kick off Q2 to do a bit of a reset and a reintroduction of ourselves, our business, what we do. Because I think that Heather and I, over the course of the last few months, few years, we've kind of had a few stops and starts in different directions, and we've really kind of pulled back to focus on what we know is really important to us and what fills our bucket, but also what's really important to what we're hearing with property managers like you. And we're thrilled to be sharing that with you today.
Interesting, Mike, when I thought about doing this podcast, and I love a good analogy or a metaphor or just thinking about, is this like something we've done? And it reminded me of starting Cottage Link Rental Management way back in 2003. And we went for absolutely everything. We went for every cottage. We went for small ones. We went for big ones. We had a couple of luxury ones. We didn't really have a focus. And over the course of 20 years, and I'm not saying it's going to take us 20 years to get our act together, but over the course of 20 years, we did bring it back to let's go for a specific type of property, a specific type of owner. And once we'd honed it in to those things got so much easier. And I think that's what's happened to us over the years. We tried to be all things to everybody. And certainly in the last 6 months, maybe just 3 months, we have both got much more focus, and I think we are really on the right track now, and that's something we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's kick this off really briefly with a little bit of a reintroduction to us and who we are. So my name is Mike Bayer. I'm the CEO and co-founder of the Vacation Rental Formula Business School, along with Heather, who is also the co-founder. And we've been in this industry now since, 1998. I think we first traveled across from the UK to Canada, started looking at properties in Canada, and that's where Heather bought her first property and then realized that this was the opportunity to get into an industry that really needed some much needed love and attention.
Yeah, I'm Heather Bayer. I came across from England to Canada in 2003, and at that time I had a little company in England offering Ontario cottages to the British market. But that didn't last too long once I found property management in Ontario, started up Cottage Link Rental Management, and that lasted for 20 years. I sold it in 2022. But over the course of those 20 years, I've been documenting all the way from started a blog in 2005 and wrote a book about vacation rentals for independent owners at that time. Started the podcast in 2014, and that is still ongoing. And now, since we sold the company, Mike and I have been focusing on education in this vacation rental industry and trying to bring really quality teaching and bring all our experiences to the world of short-term rentals.
I think that this started with educating the owners whose properties Heather was renting originally. So that's what we started off doing, was providing education to those owners on how to be better hosts, how to welcome their guests, and be the best version of their hospitality selves. And I think that has grown because many of those original owners began to branch off by themselves, buy additional properties, and actually start their own property management companies, which we supported them and helped them with their operations, their marketing, and all those things. And that's really, how we evolved to become the Vacation Rental Formula Business School, where we have the formula and we want to help you create the perfect vacation rental or short-term rental business. And that's where we pull all of our love for this industry from, is to help and to become involved and to allow you to become the best version of yourselves when it comes to providing incredible stays for guests in your destination area. And what we've been building over the years is, a library of courses. We provide consultancy, and most importantly of all, we've created community. So as a listener of the Vacation Rental Success podcast, you are, part of a community of listeners who really, truly want to dive deep into some quality knowledge of what is going to make your business not just a fly-by-night, make money quick, I'm going to earn $1 million in 6 months kind of business. It's about providing the most incredible experience and providing the best possible business unit for not only your guests, but you're also looking at your community. Like, how can you support your community and how can you build the most amazing team while providing the service you need to the owners of the properties you're renting on behalf of, if you're doing that style of business. And really, that's what we're going to cover today. We want to go a little bit more in depth about what we do, how we can solve some of your biggest short-term rental business challenges.
Something we haven't mentioned is the topic of AI. And for anybody who's been listening for any time, you'll know that I have dived into AI and spend a lot of time learning the basics of the tools that are very popular and that lots of people are already out there doing very much the same. But I'm spending a lot of time in there and sharing what I'm learning through community, through podcasts, and through a couple of the programs that we're doing. So I want to kick off with the AI Ambassador program because we've just completed the first cohort. I'm so excited that I'm not going to say I'm so excited it's over, but I was really happy at the way it went. Although I have to say, Mike, this really speaks to how quickly AI is moving, because when I put this program together, probably only about 3 months ago, I did it almost entirely in ChatGPT. And the things I was teaching in certain parts of the course were all in ChatGPT. Since then, I've moved LLMs, so I now spend all my time in Claude. A lot of the things I was teaching, particularly in week 2, which is about building a knowledge base, I was talking about building custom GPTs, and now long story short, the first cohort is finished, and I'm now rewriting at least one module because of the changes in AI. It's not a small update. I've got to completely rethink the material that I'd written, I then tested, and now I'm going to rewrite it. But the great thing is that all the cohort members of that first cohort get to join in the next one as well. So they can join in for the newly minted module 2. But just to go back a bit, the reason I started the AI Ambassador program, or the reason we started it, was because I was hearing from so many people in the industry when I went to conferences and seminars, etc., or actually spoke to people in discovery calls, and hearing that they were overwhelmed with what was coming at them in the AI space. They didn't know where to start. Their teams were all using different things. They wanted to consolidate and go at it professionally, but didn't know where to start. So that's where the AI Ambassador program came from, because I figured that if every company had one person who was directing the flow of AI within their team, then everybody would, and I hate to use this expression, singing from the same hymn sheet, but I can't think of another one, but everybody would be using the same platforms, using the same prompts, using the same background material, so the output would be more consistent than people were telling me that it was. Does that make sense? Is that a good description?
Yeah, and we've used the analogy before, this AI ambassador within your team become the conductor of the orchestra. So you have team members, maybe virtual team members who are doing marketing, or you have, people in operations, your property maintenance, your cleaners, you have, all these different areas within your business. And each of those areas are probably using AI differently. And this AI ambassador becomes this conductor who brings everybody together, ensures that they are all kind of doing the same thing in the same way. So that way the output is consistent and you create the symphony that you want your business to, run on rails. Whereas if you have everybody pulling in different directions because they're trying to use a different product, a different platform, a different LLM, then your messaging, as Heather said, is just not going to be consistent. And this is why this AI ambassador program not only helps train that one person, but also helps that one person to indoctrinate or introduce AI into all of these different departments within your business. Now, you may have a small business. You may just have husband and wife. You may have a family-run business and you have 2 or 3 people. Now, that is fine, but each of you have different roles. You're managing your marketing. You're still managing your dynamic pricing. You're still managing your operations. You may have multiple roles with each person, but again, if you are able to bring together those different roles under a unified system, whatever platform that may be, then you'll ensure that the workflow is consistent and the messaging comes out the same way.
Yeah, talking about messaging, I'm sort of bandying about this term AI Ambassador Program, but just very briefly, I'll talk you through just the 7 steps that are in the program, because if you listen to these 7 steps and write them down, you don't have to do the program. You could actually go ahead and get it all together yourself. So in the first week, we talk about your mindset and about that whole thing about AI and how you understand what it is, what it does, and how it fits into a very human-centered hospitality environment. And in the second week, we talk about your business knowledge, building a knowledge base, because you should never even touch AI until you've got that in hand. And that's the one I'm completely rewriting. Not rewriting the fact that you need a knowledge base, but I also tell you where to store it and how to create the documents that should go in that knowledge base. And that's something that eluded me for a long, long time. But that's what gives the AI the context it needs to be really useful and helpful rather than generic. And then we go into a company audit. And because that's important, you need to audit everybody in your company. You need to audit all the tools you're using. I think there's so many tools, platforms that people are using that have come from some of the most amazing vendors in this industry that have introduced AI into these platforms, and you buy into them and then don't actually use them and perhaps don't even know what AI is in there. So we covered that in the week about doing an audit. So after you've done that audit, and along with that audit, in fact, you begin to look for frictions, where friction is happening in the workplace, where there's bottlenecks, where perhaps people are doing the same things in different ways. And, that's not just identifying problems, but then we design practical workflows to actually deal with them. These are repeatable, documented processes that everybody can use. And then we go into communicating this to the team. And this is all about change management. You might have a big team, and some people are very skeptical about AI. Others are welcoming. Others are using every platform under the sun that maybe some that you've never heard of. And we discuss shadow AI in detail when we go into the guardrails and safety and risk sections. What can go wrong, how you protect your business, and where to draw the line. And then when we get into the 7th week, it's all about, okay, you've done all this stuff, let's put it into practice. And there's one thing I really want to be clear about. The 7 weeks of this program is a very short time to learn all this and put it into action. So we don't expect that to happen. It's really a framework that you can then take, put into your business, and then work at it over a period of time, which is why in the program we do this 7 weeks of very intensive training and coaching. And then after that, we go into monthly coaching calls where we help our students put all these things that they've learned into practice.
I think one of the great things that comes out of this is that all the other students who are working with other property management companies, you form this bond that you're pulling ideas and sharing with each other, and you create this community around, utilizing AI within your business. And I think you said at the top of this, Heather, is that, if somebody sat down and wrote everything down that you just said, they can go do it themselves. But what you lose is the tools and the resources that are included within this program and this incredible community of people who are all learning at the same time. And if you have a problem or you're stuck on something, quite often somebody else has already either had that problem and has the solution and is willing to share. And I think that's always been at the root of what we do at Vacation Rental Formula Business School, is to create this community where we are helping each other. I think everybody agrees about the short-term or vacation rental industry. We do love to help and support each other. And I think that's what the key feature of being part of this AI Ambassador program.
Of course, not everybody wants to join a training program. That's why I said you could take these things and run with it. If you've already got that basic knowledge, that's fine. Do that. We're going to talk about the community in a while, Mike, and talk about Substack, because over the next 6 weeks on Substack, I'm actually going through the themes of each of the AI Ambassador Program weeks, taking what we're talking about here and just taking it and expanding it in a little more depth. So we'll be talking about that as we go on. So the first cohort, we finished that yesterday, if you're listening to this on publication day. And now that group is going into a period of monthly coaching calls. So now we're thinking of the second cohort and can't wait for that to kick off. I know that some of our students that have already been through it are going to be rejoining. So it's going to be a bit larger, which I love because that's more experience that's coming from the people in the program to share. And we're going to be launching that in May. And if anyone listening is wondering whether this might be a good fit for them, for themselves or someone on the team, I am so happy to have a conversation with you and talk about whether I think you would be a great fit for this program.
And always remember, if you're listening to this and you're a staff member in a property management company, or if you're the principal, the owner or the manager of a property management company, this may not speak to you directly. You may be like, I have too much on my plate. This is not for me. But you have to look at the fact that there could be somebody else in your organization who would be a good fit to be the AI ambassador. This would be something worth bringing up at your regular staff meeting or discussing ongoing training and development, is that this would provide an incredible resource and an incredible community that will help bring AI into your organization. Now, we've talked quite often on the podcast that AI is not something that you are going to be able to ignore. The revolution of AI within business and within our everyday use is just as important as when the internet became part of our industry and our business. There were a lot of people who said, well, I'm not putting my business on the internet. I'm not going to be accepting online payments because nobody's going to want to do that. When AI first started coming into the conversation for short-term rental businesses, there was a lot of naysayers who were like, well, we're not going to do AI because it takes away the humanity and the hospitality of our business. And if you use AI incorrectly, absolutely, you can remove the humanity and what most people love about this industry, which is connecting with your guests and connecting with your owners. However, AI is an incredible supporting system that allows you to automate and also to create some new ideas and new direction for your business that you may not have considered. AI is incredibly powerful when you give it the right tools, the right resources, the right knowledge base to support you in just about every aspect of your business. So I highly recommend you go to the show notes, you click the link to the AI Ambassador program, and go and read a little bit more. And if you are still not sure, but you want to ask more questions, make sure you reach out to Heather again. You'll see that in the show notes. There'll be a link there where you can book a consultancy call and just ask those questions. Don't let this be something that you wish you had done, because you will be left behind and you'll find your business is just not running and growing as fast as your competitors unless you're actually getting involved and starting to integrate AI to make AI a solution to a large number of your operational problems.
I want to move on now to Thrive Essentials, because that's something that I spent a lot of time on last year and it's ready for prime time now. And this is a great time for any companies that are thinking on growing their teams and taking on new employees, people who perhaps have never been in the industry before. And I know in places like Gulf Shores, where I've just spent the last 3 months, it's a community of short-term rental people. Just about everybody you talk to is somehow connected to the industry. So if a company in Gulf Shores advertises for a guest services representative or somebody to do owner acquisition, they're very likely to get somebody from another company who's already understands the landscape of short-term rentals. But in other places, you are likely to be hiring people that maybe have never been in the industry. They may have been in hotels or in hospitality in another way. And something that I came across when I was hiring was anybody that has been around in the working world from about 2014 onwards. So that's in the last 10 years. If people came into the workspace in that time, they've only ever known Airbnb. They probably have no clue what a property management company does and no clue that there was anything before Airbnb. So we developed Thrive Essentials in part to cover that, to deliver the history of this industry and to share what direct booking actually means. And it's a short course for those people new to the industry, whether it's a housekeeper or a reservationist or guest services staff or a property coordinator, regardless of who you've got coming in, it's a generic course on the basics of the industry. So briefly, it covers industry landscapes, how OTAs and direct bookings and what a co-host is, what a consolidator is, etc. Operational roles in the ecosystem. So owner relations, revenue optimization, guest experience, compliance, community engagement. And then technology foundations. We teach about different platforms that companies use, PMS systems, channel managers, guest communications tools and operations platforms. Values and culture. So that's a discussion on trust and hospitality and responsibility, which are the framework of how we work within our Thrive framework. And standards and compliance, safety, legal awareness, operational best practices, and professional maturity. And then what I've just added, which was not in the course when I first built it out, was a new AI in the workplace module. And that doesn't tell them what AI they're going to use, because who knows what platform companies are using. But it addresses things like security and risk and ethics of using AI, about understanding what tools are approved in an organization, what data should or shouldn't go into an AI system, how to raise questions when they're unsure. So it's for people joining short-term rental teams who are probably likely to have used AI somewhere, maybe at home or with a previous employer, or maybe they've done a course, but it shows them how to apply that learning within their new environment. So I think that was a good description, Mike, don't you?
Yeah, and I think at the core of it is to understand that what we're trying to do with this program is to give any new employee, and we've also heard from existing employees how this program has given them a bit of a new perspective on the industry. Because as Heather mentioned, so Thrive actually stands for Trust, Hospitality, Responsibility in a Vibrant Environment. So we look at that as our 4 key values that we're trying to get across to. It doesn't matter what short-term rental business you're in. Those are 4 key values that you want to have in just about every organization. And what we do is we apply those 4 values to 4 key stakeholders. Now, the 4 key stakeholders are your guests, primarily. Then you have owners, if your business is renting properties on behalf of other owners. Then we have your community, because we want to make sure everybody in your organization is thinking about how your business interacts within your community and how you can build that relationship. And lastly is the team, is how do you apply trust, hospitality, responsibility, and vibrant environment to your team so they themselves thrive within the workplace. So that's where all of the content in this program is rooted in these 4 values applying to these 4 stakeholders. And then all of this knowledge is applied across all of those areas. It's a wonderful place to start. It really is a great Kickstarter for any new employee. And it's also a good grounding for anybody who's been in the industry for a while, where they kind of begin to have a little like change of lens on how they do their role, and how they are able to affect change that will position your company to be not only more appealing to guests and to owners, but also to the community and welcoming in new team members.
This is for any company, really, as Mike said, but anyone who's now gearing up for spring and summer, you may be onboarding new team members right now. And it's exactly where this training has the most impact, before habits form. So, finding out more about this, Mike?
Yeah, so again, everything we're discussing today, you need to visit the show notes, whether it be in the description on your smart device. If you click on the episode, there'll be a description, and there'll be a link in the description if you're listening on your phone or on your watch. Typically, all of those, you can get into the description and click the link, and that will actually drop you over across to our website, where there'll be all of the information you need and the links to all the correct things, whether it be the AI Ambassador Program, the Thrive Essentials Program, any of our communities, and anything else we're discussing today.
And let's move on to communities, because we made a decision recently. We just sent out emails to a few people, and I just wanted to share that, well, I want Mike to share, because Mike you've been the one, Mike, that's been really gunning for having a community. And I know this goes back to donkey's years ago with Lay My Hat. That was a community that we sort of started off with back in, for me, it was 1999 I joined Lay My Hat and met some great people. I met Richard Vorton on that platform, and Richard has been, around this industry for a long, long time, along with many others. But that was the first community I joined. And then, of course, Matt Landau had the most wonderful community with his inner circle for many, many years. And there's been other communities come and go. And I think that's what we wanted to do. It hasn't met with the best success. So I'm being very open and transparent about that. So I'll put that over to you, Mike, just to talk about community, why it's important, and how maybe we can finally address it.
Yeah, I mean, community is the foundation of just about everything we do, whether, as I just mentioned, in terms of the Thrive principles, developing that relationship within your vacation destination, within your community, and making those connections, that networking. Because networking is how we support each other. And that's why communities are so powerful. I'm sure if you're listening to this, you may well be a member of a community on LinkedIn or on Facebook, or they may be a free community or a paid community. All of these communities are there for the same reason, is to support either existing knowledge based on a course or some other knowledge base, or it's simply to network and connect people together. So that way, if you have a question, all the answers aren't coming simply from one source. You can aggregate the knowledge from all the people in that community. So we have tried a couple of different versions of a community over the years. And what we've always found is the technology that tends to get in the way. Because we are living in an era right now with so much noise. We're connected on WhatsApp. We have Slack channels. We have Facebook groups, we have the LinkedIn groups. There are so many, and
there's School and Circle.
Yeah,
for anybody who's tried either of those, you can often, if you want to join a community, you'll find it's called School, SKOOL, or Circle communities.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is about these communities is you're only going to get out of them what you put in. If you simply join a community and are just passively kind of checking it out, I do find that most people just tend to drift away. But if you're engaging, and then you engage in a community, you answer somebody's question, somebody answers your question, it gives you that hook, like keeps you in the community. And we're learning as community managers to begin to grow the conversation. But what we have found is that the impetus on us to create conversation. And that's what we try and do. And so we've discovered this new platform called Substack, which gives you a great platform to have a couple of things kind of in one basket. You get the opportunity to create and share new articles, which are longer form posts with a lot more content, can guide you through the steps of doing something or give you a little bit more of a perspective of a particular topic or subject. Then you have notes where you can kind of share a thought of the day. Then Substack also has a chat forum, so you can actually chat with other members of that Substack group, and you can start your own conversations about something or ask questions of other people who are subscribers to that Substack group. So we're trying this out, and we would love for you to get involved. It's free subscription. Again, the link for this, our new community called Grounded in AI, is going to be hosted on Substack. And the wonderful thing about Substack is there's an app. And I think this is what we've always struggled with, is having an app that allows people to access on their mobile device. Because typically, if you're having to log in on a desktop computer or on your laptop, you're just not quite as engaged. So please, if you're interested, go to the show notes, become a subscriber of the Grounded in AI group on Substack, and you can download the Substack app and log in there, and then the Grounded in AI group will be right there for you once you've connected in.
I found interesting, Mike, is that so many people are migrating out of LinkedIn and moving over to Substack. And I'm sure they're keeping their LinkedIn growing, but it's a bit like all this migration from ChatGPT to Claude. There's a new platform, there's a new kid on the block. But in fact, Substack has been around since 2019. And it came into its own a bit during COVID, but has really blown up over the past 6 months or so, as a lot of well-known people in the journalism world have joined Substack and starting to do their writing there to become fully independent. And it is a home of independent writers. I love it. I hope you will join up. Come see me, come chat. I am in Substack every single day. And if anybody does make a comment on one of my posts or one of the notes or starts a chat, then I see it immediately. So come along, say hello.
Yeah, so come along, say hello, and just say, you heard the conversation on the Vacation Rental Success podcast, and you want to be a part of it, because it'd be great for us to let us know that that's where you heard about Substack and getting involved in the Grounded in AI group.
So that's the community side of it. I want to move on now to something that I absolutely love, and it's our consultancy programs, because I have been doing consultancy, and we're going to have to talk about what I mean by consultancy. But I've been doing this over the past couple of years, where I've been engaging directly with a single person, with one person, or maybe a couple, and talking through the issues with their organization, with their company. We work out solutions for them. And then over the course of a year, we work through those solutions. This is a really intensive way of working directly with me and getting my 100% focus. And I just wanted to say at this juncture that I'm opening up 5 more slots for over the next 90 days.
I think one of the things that is worth considering, obviously, if you're working directly with Heather, who is one of the vacation rental industry's kind of foremost experts and has many, I don't want to be rude, has had many, many years of experience in a lot of the challenges that are facing short-term rental businesses. To see her work with her clients and just the genuine enthusiasm that she puts into making sure that not only are you connecting with her on a weekly call, but also all the additional work she puts in the background to, we have resources, but how do I tweak this resource to make sure it's perfect for that client? This is a higher tier cost for most people to get one-on-one consultancy. And we'll talk about the difference between consultancy and coaching, because consultancy is very bespoke. It is designed specifically for you. It's designed for your business to solve the very specific problems that you're having. Now, the consultancy we're offering is very much geared towards your use of AI and integrating AI into your organization. So you can absolutely go and do the AI ambassador program and have somebody on your team go and do that. We're actually including that in the consultancy. So if you want to have somebody do that program, but at the same time have Heather work with you to ensure that every single aspect of your business is being covered, the challenges are being looked at, the foundations are being laid correctly to allow you to have this springboard to really see success that much quicker. This 90-day intensive consultancy is exactly what you need. And the beauty of it is it doesn't end after 90 days, is there will be ongoing monthly individual coaching calls to ensure that all of the plans, the blueprint that has been put in place is actually being executed. And if you are finding those roadblocks or those stumbling hurdles, that Heather will help you through that. And so anyway, I just want to say from my perspective, being somebody who's normally kind of in some of these calls, because I will help support and give some of my perspectives when it comes to marketing and technology and integration of different things, to see her work is really inspirational, to see how much passion she puts into helping her clients succeed.
I only take on the clients I really want to work with. We start out with an hour-long free discovery call where we have a really good discussion, and at the end of it, I send a plan. And that is entirely free of charge. So you can have that 1 hour discovery call with me, get your report, which will tell you where you should go from here and go off with that. But obviously, I prefer to have that discovery call and really make the rapport with our client and then carry that relationship on. And, at the end of our time together, it's not really the end of our time together because my clients have become friends. I've been working so deeply in their businesses that I have this vested interest going forward. But what we do is we have what we call a 90-day intensive, which is weekly calls over a period of 90 days. And then we map the problem, we build a plan, we start implementing it, and we're using AI throughout as a central working method, not as a side feature. And I think a year ago, it was more of a side feature. And now it's integral. It's a whole part of what we do, whether it's building apps that help the company or the organization go forward, or whether it's teaching skills like how to use Claude Skills and Claude Projects and Claude Co-work, or maybe Gemini. I'm having to learn Gemini too. And then by the end of 90 days, you've got a clear framework. Real solutions are underway, and you have that understanding to go ahead with confidence. And then the next 9 months, when it's all about real situations, when things occur, you make real decisions, real AI adoption, implementations, and then we just work them through together as they arise. So it's practical problem solving. It's not me doing it for you. It's me sitting alongside you to help you do it right. Does that make, I think that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, we can't do the work for you, but certainly we are dynamic in the fact that we will look at problems that arise and come up with new solutions that you may not have thought of, or provide you with resources to help you overcome those challenges. Whether it be something that we create bespoke or something that we've already used with another client, we have the library and the experience of working with property managers for the last 10, 15 years to support you in your business and ensure that your time with us is well spent. And as Heather mentioned, there's the 90-day intensive, but then there's 9 months of these follow-up and coaching calls. So you're looking at a full year of support from one of the industry's top experts.
So who is this for? I've worked with small companies. I've worked with independent operators, with companies with 50, 100 properties. So if you are out there and you have a specific challenge and you're stuck and you want some help to work through it systematically, and you want to come out at the other end not just with a solution, but with skills and confidence to keep solving problems as they emerge, then that may be for you. But it's not a quick fix. It's a year of building real capability. Now, I said I only have 5 slots available, and that's true because this takes significant time and attention. It's not just my time on a call. It's what I do after that call that takes up a lot of time. And it could be that I'm going out to build an entire app for you, or that I'm spending time working on a solution to a very specific problem you have. So 5 is the number I can genuinely serve at the depth that this program requires.
I can say from personal experience, I've listened to a lot of podcasts where I'm a subscriber. I listen every week. And I know that if you're listening to this right now, you're probably one of those people. And you've often thought, well, I wish I had a Heather in my back pocket to kind of help me out. Well, this is your opportunity. And if you've been thinking about it, that you need the help, you're stuck, you're really not having the direction you need, maybe all of the things you listen to and hear on the Vacation Rental Success podcast, it's like every week there's something new. It's just like, oh, there's too many things. I don't know where to really kind of put my time and effort. this is one of those best solutions for you because it really is an all-in-one where Heather can actually pare it down to what is the most important to drive your business forward. So don't wait. Make sure that you head across to the show notes where you'll find the link to our consultancy webpage. You can then have a conversation. That's the main thing, is having a conversation with Heather, not a sales call, but having that conversation to really share what it is that's holding you back, what it is that you wish, where you want to be. And Heather will then send you a report detailing some of the things we would look at and then present the opportunity for you to become a consultancy client if it's the right fit.
And just to add to that, I've invested myself in consultancy programs over the years, and it's a high investment. I valued myself enough to make that investment, to spend the time to actually turn up every single week, because when you spent that money, you definitely want to go every week. And then I've had the return from it. So I want to bring to my consultancy clients the same value that I got from the programs that I was in.
Good stuff. So we're kind of coming up to the end of the episode now, and we just want to kind of remind you that this is your time. This is a time where the world is shifting underneath you, and you want to ride it. You want to jump on board. You want to be a part of all the things that we are offering. The AI Ambassador, the next cohort is starting in May. Now is the time to begin to think about if you want to do that and get in touch and even begin and subscribe to get on board and make sure you're securing your spot, because that's one that is going to really help propel you in 2026, as well as the Thrive Essentials program. It's ready. You're going to see quite a bit of this program, I think, over the next few months. We have some really great industry influencers who are supporting us with this program, who are going to be pushing it out to their audiences as well. So don't wait. Obviously, as popularity increases and we begin to have a bit more bandwidth, we'll probably be increasing the price on that. So make sure you get in now, head across to the show notes and be sure to look into Thrive Essentials and see if it's going to be a good fit for your organization, which I almost guarantee it will be.
Oh, well, I just want to add a couple of, I will be appearing over the next couple of months. On the 23rd of April, I am doing a webinar for Shortcuts, which it's an organization that is just in its infancy. I'm the membership secretary, and it's an organization of trainers and consultants and coaches that have all been vetted. So if you are looking for somebody, it's very specifically for a specific thing, then you'll be able to go to the Shortcuts website and check that out and find a consultant or a trainer or a coach that is going to work for you. But I'm doing a webinar for them on AI and what you need to know before the magic begins. So it's all about what you need to know, what you need to have put in place before you start using AI. So that's on the 23rd of April. And on the 28th of April, that's the following week, 28th, 29th, 30th, I think, I'll be at VR Nation. I'm delivering a presentation on foundations of AI. Again, my favorite topic at the VR Nation conference. And they've got an AI track, which is fantastic. And I'll be opening that AI track with foundations. And then on June the 9th, I will be in Brighton in England, talk again about the foundations of AI adoption at the Scale UK conference. And that's a 2-day conference. Day one is all about AI. They've got an entire day. I kind of spent an entire day geeking, Mike, on AI. And once again, talking about AI foundations. And the second day of that is a broader conference for property managers. So if you are going to be at either VR Nation or in Brighton, or if you just want to join in the webinar on the 23rd of April, then I will see you there.
Actually, one of the best things you can do is head across again to the show notes and join our Substack community. And you can connect with Heather on the chat and just let her know you're going to be there. And then that way you can plan ahead and hopefully connect. Again, if you're not going to be meeting Heather in person at any of those events, again, the Substack community is the place to be, where we'll be starting conversations from things like this episode, where you can ask questions and we can absolutely get back to you with any solutions or problems that you may currently be having and kind of guide you to the best thing for you within the Vacation Rental Formula Business School.
So it seems like this episode was all about us. which was very very intentional, because we thought it was time to do a reset, to say this is who we are, this is what we do, this is how we serve you. And I hope you've enjoyed it. You've got a bit more information and knowledge about what we're able to offer.
Thanks so much for having me. I do like these opportunities to kind of reach everybody and give you all of the insights into where we're at and what's coming up. It's going to be an exciting start to this 2026 kind of summer season as we begin to warm up across North America and also to some of our, slowly here in Canada, but also to our other listeners around the world. I mean, we know we have listeners across Europe. We have some in Africa. We have some in Australia, New Zealand. So thanks to you again for being loyal listeners of the Vacation Rental Success Podcast. We really appreciate it. And again, I'd love to get to connect with some of you on Substack. So that would be the best place. Maybe we'll start a podcast thread where we can kind of connect with some of the listeners, and that way kind of put some names to the ears who are listening to the podcast every week.
Well, that's just one last thing, that on Substack, I will be posting all the AI-related podcasts that we do.
Perfect. So, yes.
Also has a podcast thread.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm going to pass it back to you to wrap up.
Thank you, Mike, as ever, for joining me. It's always an absolute pleasure to sit here and chat. I know I haven't seen you in person since December, so I hope we get the chance to get together before too long. That would be ace, since now you're only 2 hours down the road instead of 4 days.
Yes. Well, 4 days if you're towing a trailer, or 23 hours if you're just driving non-stop. But
I know you drive non-stop when you're going down there, but no, it was 4 sedate days for your sedate parents. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure having you here, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week. It's been a pleasure as ever being with you. If there's anything you'd like to comment on, then join the conversation on the show notes for the episode at vacationrentalformula.com. We'd love to hear from you, and I look forward to being with you again next week.